Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. Today I want to talk about wide receiver Roman Wilson. On paper, a good game against Tampa Bay. 2 catches for 72 yards, making some plays inside stadiums. There's good and bad to talk about, so let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate it. So, going to go through the good and then the bad of Roman Wilson Saturday at Acrisure against Tampa Bay. First play is going to be the second play of the game for Pittsburgh. The interception that Mason Rudolph threw intended for Roman Wilson. Don't blame Wilson for the interception. Snap a little bit low, read a little bit late, according to Rudolph. What I want to note here is just the release from Roman Wilson. And Pittsburgh is running Hoss-wide juke, basically a mirrored concept. The slot receivers here and here run down the seam. The outside receivers run curls to try to hold the corners. And the innermost slot receiver, in this case Scotty Miller, is running a choice route over the middle. This is done by the Patriots in their heyday of Gronk and Edelman. Very common concept there. Just watching the release of the slot receiver to the top, Roman Wilson, compared to the bottom by Brandon Johnson. Now, the different body types. Wilson is a smaller, faster receiver, but just watching him, Wilson, be able to avoid the jam and the reroute by the underneath defender, and watching Johnson get bumped and slowing him down, and Wilson able to run past as they're both running down the seam. You see Wilson really jet off the ball here, avoid it. Johnson to the bottom cannot. It really slows him down. You see how much more ground Wilson is covering compared to Brandon Johnson. So just a small note, and obvious given their styles and how they win and their skill sets, but really seeing that burst, that get off the line of scrimmage from Roman Wilson on this play. Unfortunately, a better ball, better situation. Could have been a touchdown. This one ends in a pick, but Wilson running it down at the end, at least showing a little bit of hustle to try to maybe get in on this play. Doesn't make the tackle, but just one more time, seeing that acceleration off the line from Roman Wilson. Just a quick note as we get to know his skill set inside stadiums. This one won't go on the highlight reel, but we can appreciate Roman Wilson taking one for the team. He will get some special teams work potentially this year. Got some work in this game we'll look at, including on the kick return team. Did not officially return a kickoff. Caleb Johnson had the 3, but Wilson now becoming the up man here, and he gets run over, but you do what it takes to help Johnson on this return. So not a great moment here for Wilson personally, but on tape you see a guy, small guy like that, take a lick, get in the way, be a speed bump as Johnson gets out to about the 31, 32-yard line. Just a note there on what Wilson is willing to do for this team. All right, let's get back to the offense here, and Wilson's biggest play of the day, the 42-yard reception, a Mills concept, so Scotty Miller running the dig, Roman Wilson winning the post, safety in conflict. He gets flat-footed on the dig. Wilson runs by on the post over the top, and we're seeing the speed, we're seeing the burst. Nice job stemming through the route. Wilson getting that second gear right there, running by the corner and making this catch. Nice job snagging it away from his body with the cornerback, and that's a good corner, Jamal Dean, behind him. So really kind of getting that second gear right there. A better ball, maybe a little more out in front. Wilson potentially could have scored here. It's a good concept overall, but Wilson showing that speed, and then right there, that second gear to really accelerate through the route as he breaks to the post, making that hands catch, and it's a 42-yard gain. Pittsburgh looking and really needing chunk plays from the offense this year to complement more of that ground and pound running game to avoid having to go in these long 10 to 12 play drives. These big chunk gainers that Wilson has shown so far can absolutely help the Steelers' cause. So quick look from the end zone view, good pocket. Nice catch right there by Wilson. Big play for the offense. Going back to special teams, and Roman Wilson continuing to get an expanded look here. Here is Wilson on kick coverage. As Mike Tomlin said, he'd do a little bit more on special teams, functioning as L1 on the kick coverage unit. Doesn't make the tackle. Not a whole lot to note here, but just showcasing he's getting some expanded special teams work, playing in the kick return game, and now on kick coverage. Last play I want to look at from the good category, Roman Wilson as a run blocker, going to be important in the system, in this scheme, and certainly for OC Arthur Smith, who values it very much. And this is not a maybe true blue crack block by Roman Wilson, but nice job here on the safety to really get the matchup Pittsburgh is looking for, which is to get the running back one-on-one with the cornerback. And so Wilson doing a good enough job here to get hands on the safety, sticking to him, and finishing the rep as well. Unfortunately, Caleb Johnson could not break the tackle of the corner, but that's the matchup Pittsburgh wants. It's why we're cracking. Safeties making cornerbacks tackle. So a nice job here by Wilson overall. Make sure just don't avoid that hold. It's kind of the little note there, making sure you let him go as he tries to get outside. But overall, like to fight the demeanor of Roman Wilson, the smaller guy, but blocking hard, and does a nice job here to get the look Pittsburgh wants schematically. Some things to talk about, and this is a little bit more nitpicking. I don't think there were any egregiously bad plays from Roman Wilson, and overall it was a good day. Like I said, 2 catches, 72 yards, and I don't know, whatever he played, 15, 20 snaps. It's a good day overall. But just watching Wilson at the top here, could he have run this route a little bit better? Pittsburgh running this pick route, this slant-flat combination, and should Wilson have come under this corner instead of over top, and then really kind of getting locked up with him and not becoming an option? I think you could argue, and I would argue at least, I'd love to know what Arthur Smith and wide receivers coach Zach Azzani would say, but to run under the corner here, to run past him, even though it's going to be short of the goal line, instead Wilson over the top really collides with him, and you have the corner blanketing and basically taking yourself out of the play, and then from there it kind of gets messy. Now the play ends in a touchdown. Mason Rudolph touchdown pass scored by Brandon Johnson. A good pocket overall. Nice job by the tackles, Broderick Jones, Troy Fautanu. But I think you could probably nitpick the route running here and change that angle a little bit, run under it the whole way through, make yourself a target, and be able to box out this DB if Rudolph wants it. He wants it here initially, and then you see Wilson really get locked up. Is that a penalty? I don't know. Maybe you could call that if that ball was thrown. Probably if the ball was thrown, but just from the route standpoint, make yourself open. I think Roman didn't do a great job here. I do have a nitpick on the other reception. Roman Wilson had the 30-yard gain, and it's a nice play. It's a blown coverage. We see 4 Buccaneers players carry Scotty Miller. That is not the design, I promise you that, but take advantage of the opportunity no matter how they come. It's a good play overall, obviously. The nitpick, though, can you get more yak out of this? I know momentum and physics carries Wilson out of bounds a little bit, but man, I think there was some yards left on the table here, and it's wide open. The ball's caught probably a couple yards to the sideline. Can Wilson get his body under control a bit more? And if he can tightrope that sideline instead of falling out of bounds, there's a chance to get 10, 15, and who knows? You cut back inside with his speed, his athleticism. You make a guy miss, step out of one tackle, you're off to the races. So it's a good play. It's about, 5, 6, 7 yards of yak here, but I think this one could have been a whole lot more. I know momentum just took him out. It happens, but I just felt like, can you get your body, your feet under you a bit more to not carry out of bounds? And now we're talking 10, 15, 20, maybe a house call. I mean, it's caught here. It's a good catch, nice hands catch. I think Wilson has shown good hands. There's a lot of space here to the sideline. And can Wilson be able to get his feet under him? Instead, he kind of loses his balance a little bit and just can't stay in bounds. If he can cut this thing back, there's a chance for a whole lot more yards than that. And we're talking about maybe 2 double chunk explosive plays, maybe a touchdown for Roman Wilson. Now, I am no Gene Steratore. I am not a rules official, and I do like the mentality. I think there's good and bad here. This is the 4th and 1 completion to Connor Hayward, and I do love the mentality of Wilson on the block here, but is this a penalty? It wasn't called, thankfully, and Hayward does convert, albeit barely. This is probably OPI for the too early contact here. You see Wilson right into the corner. Ball's not even out at that point. I'm not entirely sure if there's a grace period within a yard. I checked the rules. I don't think there would be for an eligible receiver like Wilson is on this play. You see Scotty Miller kind of waiting before because the ball has to be completed first before you can go into blocking mode. And so I do like the mentality from Wilson, running this corner off and just being aggressive and being physical. I like the demeanor, but there may be a coaching point here if you have to wait a little bit on this throw to the flat. Now, luckily, it was not called. They pick up the first down, but that's probably something to review on the rules aspect for a guy that has not played a lot of inside stadium action. Just kind of want to note that. So we're seeing a difference there. The veteran, Scotty Miller, I think he knows he has to wait here to initiate contact. You're kind of more or less trying to get in the way here. You see Wilson be the attack dog. I love the thought, but probably something to clean up and make sure in a game situation, a fourth down conversion or third down conversion doesn't get called back on OPI. And then the last thing overall, aside from Wilson being open for a second and the ball not being snapped in a scramble drill, I just want to see Wilson work a little bit harder here. It's a successful play overall. Nice job by Caleb Johnson. Aaron Rodgers approves down here. That's him clapping for Caleb, which is good to see. But can Wilson have worked this scramble drill a little bit more, come back to the ball harder, tried to shake the coverage a little bit? He does late, then try to turn upfield. I think you could work this a little bit more aggressively on the route, probably sell it more vertically. Not the best route in the world, I would say. And then right here as Thompson's running, you're just seeing a little bit, it's not lazy. Wilson's a hard worker. It's just, can you really be all out all the time? A little more focus, a little more energy, really trying to create some space here, work away from the corner, either come downhill harder, make the catch along the sideline, maybe start drifting back inside. Obviously, Thompson moving to his right, so you don't want to go too far and make it a cross-body throw. Or, as he does very late, double back and then go deep. He does that at the very end here. The corner then has him pinned to the sideline. So I just want to see a little bit more energy and detail in this scramble drill overall from Roman Wilson. Nice job by Caleb Johnson to get himself open and turns what could have been really a throwaway or a sack or anything like that into a 9-yard game. But I want to see Wilson be a little more on the details. So overall, I know I use that phrase too often. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. It was a good game from Roman Wilson. Do not get me wrong. I'm happy about his performance. His play has certainly picked up from a really quiet start of training camp. Kevin Austin being out, Wilson has taken advantage of those reps, but there are some things to work on, which is natural for any second-year player, especially one who has played as little as Roman Wilson has after his rookie season. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video, subscribe, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.